most significant women in Quagmire's love life, from brief flings to full-on relationships to absolute nightmares. Starting with Loretta Brown, Cleveland's once-upon-a-time wife, who ended up having an affair with Quagmire in the Cleveland-Loretta quagmire. So the affair is first. In today's video, we're taking a look at some of the most significant women in Quagmire's love life, from brief flings to full-on relationships to absolute nightmares. Starting with Loretta Brown, Cleveland's once-upon-a-time wife, who ended up having an affair with Quagmire in the Cleveland-Loretta quagmire. So the affair is first discovered by Peter and Brian, who rushed toward the sound of Loretta's screams.
Peter Griffin, temporarily suspended CPR. Holy crap! We should go.
Oh, so the screams were happy no, yeah, I got it. Well, good on Quagmire, I guess. Pretty sure it's usually Cleveland screaming whenever he and Loretta have a little mess around, so I'm glad she's seeing the other side of the coin.
What was that? Shut up and put some more of that sugar in my bowl.
But even though we were sure Peter was very familiar with Quagmire's naked body, they weren't able to correctly identify who was sleeping with Loretta.
We didn't see his face. All we know is it's a skinny white guy with a tattoo on his left butt cheek.
Again, for how much I've seen Quagmire hanging out in a Speedo, I'm surprised Peter wouldn't be able to recognize that butt anywhere. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if he averted his eyes most of the time either. Can't look directly into it or it'll steal your soul.
Oh God.
Sorry guys, let me throw something on.
See what I mean? So after taking way too long to process the evidence, Peter finally clues in that Quagmire slept with Loretta.
Look, I didn't mean it, you know? I knew it was a mistake. It never felt right. Please don't tell Cleveland.
I don't know. All that screaming from Loretta might be proof that it did feel right. So after Peter quickly informs Cleveland of what happened, the slighted husband finally grows a pair and decides to enact some revenge on Quagmire.
Hey Cleveland, I was just leaving you a message.
You violated the sanctity of my marriage.
He has every right to be mad, but isn't it a tad weird that he's taking out his anger on the guy who regrets it and not the woman who reveals she doesn't regret it at all? Like, Quagmire did you a favor, buddy. A gross, complete act of betrayal favor, but one that'll pay off for you down the line.
It isn't in me to cause harm to anyone, no matter how much someone has harmed me.
So this little spat leads to the divorce of Cleveland and Loretta, with the latter and Quagmire deciding not to continue seeing each other. However, Quagmire would attempt to rekindle the flame between him and her in Love Actually.
We have a club sandwich, a fruit plate, and a side of hot beef steak. Giggity.
Obviously, she's mad about him trying to reopen old wounds, but I'd be more mad about the fact that he's ruined some perfectly good room service.
You go on and beat it, little Nick. I'm a changed woman. I don't mess with your kind anymore.
And thus ends the very brief fling between Quagmire and Loretta, one that ruined a whole marriage, but also gave us a whole spin-off show. Well, unless you want to forget that one other time Quagmire and Loretta slept together. Between you and me, it's probably best you do.
Why is she wearing a French maid's costume?
Because I want to nail a dead French maid. Giggity.
But Quagmire would get a bit more monogamous when he marries Joan, who turns out to be the bad kind of crazy in I Take Thee Quagmire. So Peter wins a week-long free maid service, which means he gets to expose Joan to just how obnoxious he is to work for.
Oh, maid!
Oh my god!
And from there, it's love at first sight. It also turns out that Quagmire is a bit of a Tolkien head, given how he fantasizes about this woman he's known for 5 seconds.
Denna Dan Re Dun Habeldath Mithrandir Ve on Hal Hesano.
I guess he is a lot like Aragorn in the fact that neither of them looks their age. Did you know Aragorn's supposed to be 87 at the start of The Lord of the Rings? Teach me your ranger skincare secrets.
Would you like to go out to dinner tomorrow night?
I'd love to.
God, he works fast.
You think that's fast? Quagmire's about to speed run this whole relationship, skipping past all that annoying dating stuff and just going right for the finish line.
Joan, I've decided I want to spend my life with you. Will you marry me?
Never really took Quagmire as the monogamous type. He does know he can't sleep with other women after this, right? Beyonce gave you a fair warning, Glenn. But he seems to like that kind of living, even going so far as to change his entire personality.
Glenn, your place looks wonderful. I feel like I can touch things in here now.
Isn't it refreshing to be in a home where it doesn't feel like the owner was trying to get every inanimate object in it pregnant? It does seem like Glenn has gone straight, but all it takes is a low-cut dress and a break from breastfeeding to make Quagmire realize just what he's given up.
Giggity, God, I've made a terrible mistake!
Well, adults back out of marriages all the time. Heck, Britney Spears did it within 3 days that one time. Surely Joan will understand the need to throw away a lifetime of happiness because Quagmire saw cleavage.
Because if you ever left me, I'd have to cut myself. And then, I'd cut you!
Well, thanks for being reasonable, Joan. So since she won't budge, the guys come up with the brilliant idea of faking his death and conveniently catching it on camera.
I just happened to be there with my video camera when a ninja shows up!
His death is a tragedy, but can we at least appreciate the fact that ninjutsu has become more handicap-friendly? But obviously Joan isn't buying this, so they go with plan B.
Hi, honey, I'm home. Heart attack.
Gone too soon at the young, brisk age of 60. Kinda surprised the funeral home couldn't tell he was just faking it, but they won't turn down making a few bucks. People just aren't dying as often as they'd like. But even though this ruse doesn't work out, Quagmire's issue does end up solving itself.
No, you can't take him!
Yeah, that was probably the only way to get out of this one. That's why you should never marry someone after only dating for 3 weeks. It's that 4th week where you really start to see people's true colors. Sweaty clam proverbs. But Quagmire would briefly succeed in being with his true love Lois when Peter screws up the past, creating a future where Lois and Quagmire are married and meet the Quagmires. So when Peter's given the opportunity to relive his youth, he ends up blowing off Lois, which creates huge ramifications for his future.
Molly Ringwald? You're my wife?
We've been married for 20 years. What's wrong with you?
Huh, so the choice is between Lois or a beloved actor of the 80s. Are you sure you don't want to try to make this new timeline work? But if Peter wasn't going to sweep Lois off her feet, someone else was going to have to step in.
I'm gone for one night and you sleep with Quagmire?
Mr. Griffin, what I do with my husband is none of your business.
Unless Quagmire texts them pictures like he usually does. Then it's everybody with a phone's business. But yeah, Quagmire and Lois are a couple in this new present, and they've given birth to some children. They made some children.
Hi, Mr. Griffin. How's it going, man?
Man, that Quagmire jawline is less of a dominant trait and more of a curse. But as much as Peter's upset about all this, Quagmire winning over Lois was done through kindness, romance, and being there for her, something Peter wasn't willing to do.
When he kissed me that night at the country club dance, I knew we'd be together forever.
Dang, so all it takes is one kiss? Okay, maybe Lois isn't as difficult to swoon as I thought. Well, that's easy. All Peter has to do is go back in time and kiss Lois, but that might be a little hard since she's still with Quagmire.
You deserve better than Peter. You deserve a gentleman.
Oh, Glenn, you're so sweet.
I know we're supposed to be rooting for Peter, but he isn't technically wrong, is he? Then again, all that kindness and chivalry can instantly be undone for Lois with a single punch, so maybe they're just perfect for one another. And just like that, the dreams of Quagmire being with Lois are dashed. Quagmire seems very chill about this in the future, though. Like, he still hangs out with Peter even though he decked him and stole his girl. I guess his plan is to just play nice and get as close to Lois as possible. Then, when the time is right and Peter's out of the way, he'll be right there to swoop back in. That's the long game, baby. But Quagmire would also resume the game of stealing Cleveland's women, as he ends up stealing Cleveland's girlfriend Carolyn by the end of Love Actually. So Carolyn first starts as Brian's girlfriend, as the two bond over being fellow fedora-tipping atheists.
If there is a God, send another copy. I guess that's our answer.
Kinda hoping a book from the top shelf would have fallen on Brian, but I guess we just gotta deal with it. But don't worry, Brian doesn't stay happy for long. After taking too long to get serious with Carolyn, some other guy swoops in and steals her from Brian.
Carolyn? Cleveland?
Oh, hey, Brian. Close that window. You're letting all the stank out.
Cleveland does know that you can't close car windows from the outside, right? I guess he's got more important things on his mind right now. And Cleveland does what Brian didn't, getting serious with Carolyn and even locking her down.
We're gonna elope in Hawaii tomorrow night.
What?
You got a problem with that, you can go f*** yourself.
Cleveland, Brian wasn't even doing that to Carolyn. What makes you think he's gonna do it to himself? And even after being tempted out of the relationship by a returning and apologetic Loretta, Cleveland is still set on being with Carolyn.
Our time is over. I love somebody else.
Hey, any chance you can maybe come back to this discussion?
Carolyn? Quagmire?
Cleveland, close the window. You're letting the stank out.
Just another notch in the belt for Quagmire, collecting Cleveland's girls like they're Pokemon. But like with Loretta, I think Quagmire more or less did Cleveland a favor. A woman so quick to cheat on 2 boyfriends probably isn't wife material. Also, why is she always getting it on in cars? Does she not own a bed? Must be a fetish that Cleveland probably isn't looking to humor too much. But Quagmire would let us see a girl he's apparently been humoring for a while now, Stephanie, who unfortunately meets her end, and then there were fewer. So several people in town are lured to an old mansion under the guise of having a dinner thrown in their honor, including Quagmire, who's brought a special guest.
Didn't think I'd see anyone I knew here. This is Stephanie.
Hi, everybody!
Apparently this little Miss Piggy-sounding lady has been Quagmire's down-low booty call for quite a while. Can kinda see why he didn't want his friends to meet her. That voice is grating. I'm not sure how Kermit puts up with it.
This guy? You disappear for a month and then you call me? So silly! me!
Look, I don't want to think too hard about what these two do behind closed doors, but after seeing how Quagmire acts around her, it's gotta be out of this world, right?
It all depends on what his astrological sign is.
Shut up.
Don't worry, Glenn. Someone's looking out for you and is more than happy to make her a little quieter.
Did the cork hit me?
Shot down in her prime and didn't hang around long enough for the audience to actually want her dead. And so, after a night of more murders and mystery, Diane Simmons is eventually revealed to be behind the whole plot, though she admits Stephanie's death was an accident and she actually doesn't know what happened to her body. Not to worry, it's in safe hands.
Damn it!
Great, and I thought Diane was the most psychotic one at this dinner party. Kinda hard to feel bad for Quagmire being embarrassed by Stephanie after that revelation. The living and the dead really aren't safe around this guy, huh? But there's one girl Quagmire would never want to disrespect, and that's Cheryl Teagues, whose past with Quagmire is explored in Teagues for Two. So after Brian attends Quagmire's class for picking up women, he's aggravated to find that these teachings aren't meant to help you find love.
These skills aren't for women you care about, you idiot! This course is in getting laid, not finding love!
To be fair, that should have been immediately apparent to Brian when he learned it was Quagmire teaching the class. It's like going to driver's ed and expecting to learn how to win the Daytona 500. Quagmire says it's rare to find a woman you truly love, but it did happen to him once with model Cheryl Teagues.
You'd never fall for these tricks. That's why I keep trying to figure out how to bring you back into my life.
I'm no love doctor, but something tells me teaching a class on how to emotionlessly sleep with women probably isn't the way into your true love's heart. But there was once a time when those two were able to make it work.
I think I'm falling in love with you.
I know, I feel the same way.
Hard to say no to a man with chest hair as lush as the rolling rice fields of Vietnam. But while they seemed happy, Quagmire's own insecurities and jealousy ended up ruining everything.
Glenn, I've about had it with your petty jealousy. I'm starting to think this relationship is a mistake.
It takes an incredible amount of guts to break up with a supermodel, but in Quagmire's case, it took a lot of stupidity. But there's only one thing that hurts worse than breaking up with Cheryl. It's seeing her date his worst enemy.
Hey, Cheryl, get your fat ass over here before I dump you.
He's so bossy, I love it.
So Quagmire could have just done his bad boy shtick this whole time and would have got Cheryl back? That's the greatest example of poetic irony since I looked up the definition of it 5 minutes ago. But two can play at that game as Quagmire finds it much easier to seduce someone from Brian's love life.
Wait, who's the fourth?
Oh, my new girlfriend. Here she is.
Jillian?
I don't really think it took many tricks and skills to win her over, truth be told.
That my father might say if he were still alive, and I knew I liked him.
But Quagmire isn't really looking for anything worthwhile with Jillian, only looking to use her as a tool to make Brian mad and win Cheryl back. Unfortunately, the two guys make such fools of themselves that no one wins.
Maybe you boys will get it together someday, but it looks like that's all you are. Boys.
Yeah, boys.
Good job, Jillian. You can tell the difference between men and boys. I'm not really sure why Quagmire didn't just try to reach back out to Cheryl after all these years, but I think he's proven to himself that he never really deserved her to begin with. But Quagmire would try easy mode again by going after Meg right when she turned 18, putting him into direct conflict with Peter and Meg and Quagmire. So on Meg's 18th birthday, Quagmire immediately makes his move by seducing this freshly legal teen.
Happy birthday. Hey, where's that pinky going, huh?
Probably directly into his own eye if he keeps acting like this in front of Peter. But at least Quagmire goes the gentlemanly route and takes Meg out on a date first before ruining her life.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I have 2 brothers.
Oh, they sound terrific. Hey, you want to blow this joint?
First he's trying to seduce her, and now he's trying to get her hooked on Mary Jane? Just how corrupt does a girl need to be before you sleep with them, Quagmire? Luckily, nothing of the sort happens just yet, as their date night ends with a simple kiss.
I really want to see you again, though.
Oh, you know it.
Unfortunately, that goes beyond the recommended 5,000-foot distance Peter wants between the two of them, so he decides to talk to Quagmire.
Meg is 18 now, and you've got to let go. You've done your job. It's my turn now.
It's too bad Quagmire's job just involves undoing all the work Peter did. But at the behest of Lois, Peter decides to let them try being a couple for now.
You're such a cutie patootie.
If I'm a cutie patootie, then you're a peenie vagini.
On second thought, it's time to shut this whole shindig down. Anyone who drops the worst pet name known to man like that needs to be thrown in a cell. But they wait too long to act, and Quagmire gets ready to seal the deal by taking Meg to his cabin.
Everyone knows if you go away with a guy for the weekend and don't have sex with him, you're a huge bitch. We gotta stop them.
Or look at it this way. If they happen to get married, then you guys will have access to the cabin. See, Meg is just thinking about the good of the family when selling her soul to a devil like Quagmire.
What is going on over here? We taking our shirts off now? Okay, follow the leader.
Then again, it's pretty clear Quagmire just wants Meg in bed, but luckily her parents arrive just in time to put a stop to it.
If you ever touch my daughter again, I will cut your thing off and feed it to Brian.
Okay.
Quagmire's less worried about losing his thing and more worried about the fact that it would be the biggest victory for Brian. I can't have that, so I guess Meg's off the table for now. But Quagmire would put his eye on a different teen with Lindsay, Chris's former girlfriend, who looks a lot like a different member of the family and Tom Tucker, the man in his dream. So we've already covered this situation in a recent video, but just to recap, Chris starts dating a girl who looks just like Lois, and Lois is completely oblivious to that fact.
Very pretty. Stunning.
Are you kidding me? Are they not seeing this?
I mean, she might be able to see it, but I think she's more focused on enjoying a look into the past rather than the creepy implications of it all. But it turns out Lindsay isn't just like Lois in terms of looks, but in faithfulness as well.
Oh my god.
That guy's no Bill Clinton, but she's still being fairly accurate to the character of Lois. After a while, the relationship between Chris and Lindsay fizzles away, but just as that one ends, Quagmire swoops in for very obvious reasons.
I think she already moved on to someone else.
Thanks for buying me these clothes, Glenn.
You're welcome.
Never mind the fact that she's way too young to be with a guy like Quagmire, there's no way she would like that middle-aged wife outfit. She's gonna get dragged at school for wearing slacks and a button-up. Maybe the embarrassment is all part of the experience for Glenn. But the only thing that could be worse than Quagmire dating a teenage girl is him dating a member of a different species, which is exactly what happens with a giraffe in T. Peter. So after Peter and the guys joined the Tea Party movement, they managed to rally enough people to get Mayor West to disband the city government.
And all of you feel the same way?
Yes! No! Yes!
Gotta give the people what they want, even if the average person doesn't really know what they want until they're told they want it. So now the government is disbanded, which means there are no laws. I meant that from a federal level, but apparently having no government means even the laws of nature don't apply anymore.
You may kiss the bride.
I'm glad we waited.
You could have waited until the heat death of the universe, and it still wouldn't have been enough time to justify a relationship like that. And if you think animal marriage is as bad as things can get in Quahog, then you've got to remember that absolutely no laws apply anymore.
Giraffity! Yeah, see, that's not mine.
Can't even stand by your affront on all things holy, can you, Quagmire? There's a lot of Quagmire children we could have covered here, but this has to be the funniest, if not the most disturbing. Don't even bother thinking about the conception. I did, and I haven't slept since. And we're sure Quagmire wanted to rethink his decision to marry Charmise, a lady of the night who he briefly eloped with in The Giggity Wife. So after a night of heavy drinking, Quagmire returns home with a little more than a searing hangover.
Who the hell are you?
Who the hell do you think I am, sweetie?
Well, at first glance, she looks like someone left a blow-up doll out in the sun for too long. But after the eyes adjust to the sunlight, it appears she's Quagmire's hot new wife that he drunkenly got married to last night.
This is just what I've always wanted, to settle down, find a husband, and live the married life.
Hey, at least this is the first woman Quagmire's been with who looks closer to the age he is. Then again, she could actually be in her 30s. Life on the streets just does that to you. But unfortunately, the easy fix called divorce doesn't seem like it's going to be an option.
If you divorce her, she'll probably get everything you have.
What? Oh, that's impossible.
So if you can't divorce her, maybe the best course of action is to just learn to live with her. After all, when life hands you very wrinkly, dried up lemons, you make the worst lemonade you've ever tasted in your life.
Charmise, when's the last time you had a pelvic exam?
When was the Missouri Compromise?
So Quagmire decides to grit his teeth and tries to try and spruce her up with a whole new wardrobe.
I would like to pawn all these clothes for money.
You can take a street cat out of the street, but you can't take the street out of a street cat. You probably shouldn't be touching many street cats either. What with their rabies and all. But Quagmire tries to be normal about the whole thing. It's just too bad everyone else didn't get the memo.
Do something to me. I love you. I want to take you away from all of this.
Hey, that's not bad for what he paid. Good on Charmise for adjusting her rates to compensate for inflation. So it looks like Quagmire's stuck with her, but when he rejects her advances, he realizes he may have a ticket out of this.
My dream is to live the married life and settle down. I can't be doing that with no gay.
I see.
Not very progressive for someone in your line of work, Charmise, but I see your point. So Quagmire plays into the idea of him being gay, but Charmise is gonna need more than just his word.
Prove it. Let me watch you have sex with a man.
It doesn't happen, but Quagmire and Peter come very close to going all the way with it. And if someone's willing to completely change the dynamic of their friendship just to get out of a marriage, it's probably best to call it quits.
I'll give you your divorce. You're off the hook.
Oh, Oh, thank you, Charmise.
Kinda weird to think about how she's actually probably the best wife Quagmire's had so far, right? And even though they're separated, I'm sure Charmise will probably leave quite the impression on Quagmire. But he should probably get that impression looked at if he starts to get a rash. And Quagmire would find himself in another relationship he wants to escape when he meets his match in Sonia, who proves to be even more depraved than him in Quagmire's Quagmire. So these two degenerates first meet when Quagmire needs his computer looked at, and they realize they have a particular hobby in common.
Personally, I'd recommend college Latinas. I mean, I want to see Latinas, but I also want them to
Speak
speak
English, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It's always nice to find someone who shares your hobbies. Now, if they could just enjoy those hobbies out of earshot, that'd be great. So the two go out on a date, but it's then that Quagmire sort of realizes just what kind of girl he found.
You ruined me?
Are you mad?
No. I'm in love.
Because the quickest way to a man's heart is by knocking him out cold. Heck, she could have grabbed his actual heart if she wanted to. Luckily, organ play isn't one of her kinks, but that doesn't make her fetishes any less disturbing.
I want you to have sex with your father.
What?
Yep, and I'm gonna watch.
Not to be dramatic, but I'm gonna need all three of them lined up for the firing squad before this episode's done. You know what? Throw me in there too. It's the only way I'm ever gonna be free of that image. But after enough time, it becomes clear that their relationship has evolved from pleasure to straight up abuse.
Sonia, stop, please!
Come on, you love it.
Look, I love bleeding out on the cold pavement as much as the next guy, but even I can see this is going way too far. And when Quagmire goes missing for days, Peter, Joe, and Ida eventually have to track him down to a storage unit turned dungeon.
Do you think I'm afraid of you?
Boy, if you were ever gonna stand, this would be the time, Joe.
Probably a bit inconvenient, but I'm sure Sonia can turn this into a five-way dance that'll work for, well, probably only her. But luckily, Joe is able to get the literal jump on her, putting her in jail and letting everything go back to normal.
My dad's pregnant with my kid.
Scratch that. This episode has really done irreparable damage to everyone involved and everyone who watches it. And while their interactions have been very brief, Quagmire has tried to make a move on Cleveland's stepdaughter Roberta, as seen in He's Black. So when Cleveland and his family move back into his old house in Quahog, everyone pitches in to help them get settled in their own way.
Well, we'll all have to do our part. I'll take little cocoa butter here.
He really does move fast. I can't be too surprised. Roberta has the one trait that Quagmire looks for most in women. She never says a single word. And not even imaginary hypothetical Roberta is safe from the whims of Quagmire.
Bubble Roberta, you get back here!
There's no age of consent in the bubble.
You know, Cleveland probably should have just beaten Quagmire to death with that baseball bat all those years ago. Hindsight is 20/20, and I'm pretty sure Roberta is well under 20. And Quagmire's fling with a teenager would justifiably get him into some hot water when he sleeps with high school student Kira and Quagmire's mom. So when Peter's having an identity crisis and throws a rager for a bunch of young people, it's clear Quagmire got the memo and brought his own young person.
I wanted to introduce you to Kira. She's the one who brought 4 loose Sierra Nevadas.
Kira!
And they're probably warm and bound to burst after being tossed around on the floor on the car ride over. Just like how the high schoolers like them. Man, do those take me back. But when Kira spends the night with Glenn, it becomes clear they didn't talk too much about the fact that she's still in school.
I'll just take the school bus.
Wait, what? You drive a school bus?
Does it look like the light in her eyes has slowly faded away? Of course she doesn't drive a school bus. So is this one of those illegal, creepy high school situations, or one of those legal but still creepy high school situations?
You said you were 23!
Yeah, and you said you love me.
Well, I guess you got me there.
Judging by how the police are immediately at the door, I'm gonna say it's the former. While it's true he was tricked, he didn't exactly make it better for himself by sending pictures to all of his friends. A red flag regardless of the situation.
Oh yeah! Boom! You're disgusting. Take them away. We've got all the awesome evidence we need.
But Quagmire would go for someone a bit older with Kimmy and Take My Wife, though we would say her intelligence is still probably on par with that of a high schooler. So when the couples on Spooner Street are getting ready to go on a couple-centric vacation, Quagmire realizes he'll need a date in order to tag along.
This is Kimmy. I met her in a pop-up window on the internet. She was in my area.
I mean, where else are you supposed to meet people nowadays? Look, if I can buy a fully intact pig fetus off of Amazon, surely the internet can help you hook up with girls. And Quagmire and Kimmy spend the trip doing pretty much exactly what you'd expect from them.
Oh, Kimmy and I fell asleep on the beach.
Yeah, I think you better change.
Hey, it's less embarrassing than getting a tribal tattoo like tourists do on these kinds of vacations. But when the trip is revealed to be a couples counseling retreat, the host decides to mix up the couples to see who they're more compatible with. You can probably guess who's most similar to Kimmy.
You're so funny.
Hey, Kimmy, I'll pay you $1,000 for one whole handful of your butt.
You might think that's creepy, but all Peter's doing is just supporting small businesses. None of Kimmy's business appears to be all that small, but you get what I mean. Unfortunately, her and Quagmire's relationship doesn't get expanded upon all that much, as even when the workers on the island revolt, she only ever interacts with Peter.
You rebel scum. Yeah, you're too young, you don't know.
But there's a lot more history and relationship between Quagmire and Soojin, Quagmire's former co-star of a Korean soap opera, who he reconnects with in Candy Quahog Marshmallow. So the guys discover that Quagmire used to act in a Korean soap opera called Winter Summer, where his soon-to-be wife is killed off in the penultimate episode.
Oh my god! Quagmire, give me the last tape.
Huh. Sorry guys, there are no more tapes.
And they can't find it anywhere. Not in stores, not on streaming, not even a low-resolution cam rip someone posted to YouTube 15 years ago. That's how most of us got into watching anime. So since they're dying to see the last episode, the guys decide to fly to South Korea in order to track it down.
No sign of Winter Summer.
Glenn Quagmire?
Of course, the plot demands that these two randomly bump into one another in a huge city. Then again, Quagmire probably sticks out like a sore thumb. That's an all-American built chin right there.
I've waited every day hoping you would return.
And I never stopped thinking of you.
Well, if you only account for the past few days, that's probably technically true. I've definitely heard more talk about Cheryl Tiegs than I have Soojin. But after reconnecting and watching the final episode, Quagmire realizes he doesn't want to make the same mistake as his character by returning to America.
I've got Soojin. I've got Buttercup and our grandcats. I've got a family.
Yeah, living in a house full of cats is probably Quagmire's heaven on earth. It's only sad if you let it be sad. And when the guys are unable to talk him out of it, Quagmire begins to settle into his new home.
Who's that?
This is my grandfather. He is going to live with us in the Asian tradition.
And if you let him sleep at the foot of the bed and don't trim his nails, it'll probably feel like just having another cat. But this little bit of culture shock actually ends up being too much for Quagmire to handle, so he decides to return home instead. I guess his love is conditional, but there doesn't seem to be any hard feelings.
Won't that upset Soojin and your new Korean family?
What are you kidding? They all got to be in a K-pop song. That's all anyone here wants.
A universal feeling, no doubt. You can lay me to rest in the ground as soon as that happens to me, for my life will finally be complete. And in order to continue his life, Quagmire must learn how to talk to middle-aged women, so he enlists Lois's help to train him on how to win the heart of Monica in Island Adventure. So Quagmire tries to seduce a woman at the bar, but his tricks don't seem to work on people who have been around the sun a couple dozen times.
Oh, why am I trying so hard? Come on, let's get out of here.
Look, I'm not some bimbo who falls for tired pickup lines.
Quagmire may be a master hunter, but this is a species he doesn't have much experience tangling with. Women his own age. Docile creatures, the middle-aged woman is a cautious animal that hardly falls for the alluring tricks of predators. But the Quagmire is a persistent hunter.
You still trying to bang that 44-year-old? What are you sending her?
Mostly
I mean, it's a real mystery why she wants nothing to do with Quagmire. You'd think he'd have clued into this long ago when he realized most of his interactions with women involve a laced drink. Luckily, there's a middle-aged woman in his direct vicinity who could maybe help him speak her language a little better.
This is exactly the stuff I need to know. Lois, will you teach me the ways of the middle-aged woman?
Alright, grab your backpack and find a swamp. You're about to get into some real Jedi stuff here. So Lois starts to give Quagmire the kind of insight he needs to understand middle-aged women.
Step 1. We all go friggin' nuts over Yankee candles.
Hey, you guys don't own that! I also do backflips over a little Midsummer's Night Candle action. But now that Quagmire has all this information, it's time to put what he's learned to the test.
Monica agreed to have dinner with me tomorrow.
That's great!
I suppose, but I don't think I can pull it off by myself.
Is this just some elaborate way to get Lois to hide inside your clothes like you did for Peter that one time? Well, not quite, as Lois opts for just sitting near their table so she can eavesdrop and text Quagmire things to say.
I noticed a yoga mat in the back of your car. How often do you do yoga?
Well, this is just all too confusing. Luckily, clam lifespans are very long, so I don't have to worry about middle-age dating for at least a few more decades. But it looks like Lois's teachings have managed to pay off, as Quagmire ends up winning her over.
Listen, what if we just bail on dinner and head back to my place?
Great, I'm in!
Of course he's in! Fewer witnesses there. And here I was thinking Monica was smarter than the rest. Because after that, it looks like Quagmire's pretty much done with her.
Oh yeah, I plowed her, thanks again.
But I thought she was the one.
Yeah, the one he wanted to plow that night. Come on, Lois. You know how Quagmire operates. He's not looking to give up fishing, and you've just given an even bigger ocean to do it in now. But Quagmire would think he did find the one when he met Carrie in Must Love Dogs, though her love of dogs unfortunately clashes with his well-documented hatred of dogs. So Quagmire meets her when she brings her niece to his house on Halloween.
It's really nice talking to you, Glenn.
You too, Carrie.
Hey! Candy!
Better do what she says. Don't want her turning Quahog into a frozen wasteland as she did to Arendelle. So the two decide to go on a little coffee date, and although they get along great, there is one glaring issue.
Yeah, who brings a dog to a coffee shop?
I love dogs.
Without letting me pet it.
Just saying those words must have given Glenn a stomachache. So she really likes dogs and can't see herself being with someone who doesn't, so it looks like he's gonna have to learn to love them real quick.
The dog park. For our next date, we should bring our dogs there.
Next date? Absolutely.
Yeah, that little not owning a dog thing might make that a tad difficult. Luckily, Quagmire knows the perfect dog that can help him with this ruse. Unfortunately, he wasn't available, so we had to settle for Brian.
There are not enough tennis balls in the world for me
I
to...
have 6.
I'll do it.
So Brian and Quagmire agree to team up and pretend to be friends in order to sway Carrie, and it actually works. But this is quite the long game for a woman. I thought Quagmire just wanted to hit and quit.
Okay, you want to know the truth, Brian? Brian the dog? I love her. You hear me? Love.
Oh, I hear you. I'm just not super sure you understand the meaning of that word. You're like the guy from The Princess Bride. So Brian decides to put how much he actually loves her to the test with a surprise proposal.
Will you marry me?
What's this now?
Oh my god, Glenn. Yes, of course I'll marry you.
And don't worry about the smell. Quagmire just crapped himself out of excitement, not a fear of seeing the rest of eternity laid out before him. But Quagmire's willing to make it work, which means he's gonna have to get really comfortable with dogs.
Dexter eats all this?
Not just Dexter, but Dexter and all his rescue brothers and sisters.
Yeah, she probably could have clarified that Quagmire's house was basically about to become a makeshift shelter. But it's cool, he loves dogs after all.
Shut up, Brian. Why don't you go for a walk? No walk! No walk!
Keep repeating the word walk, Glenn. I'm sure they'll figure out what you mean soon enough. One step at a time, you know? Quagmire just needs to get through the engagement first, and then he can figure out how to stage the deaths of 15 different dogs.
And Carrie, if I may borrow a line from our favorite song, I would walk 500 miles.
Yeah, I'm thinking you might want to diversify your vocabulary going forward, Glenn. But now the cat's out of the bag and the dogs are out of the kitchen.
So, you don't like dogs, that's fine. But you didn't have to lie and put me through all of this.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't have an episode. That's conflict, and we're all the better for it. Well, maybe not you. But it's Lois who experiences conflict when Quagmire starts dating Stephanie, a girl who used to bully her in high school in the episode From Russia with Love. So Quagmire approaches Peter and Lois with the prospect of going on a double date with his latest prospect.
Ew, the Quag's got a girlfriend.
Hey, get off me! We don't have that kind of relationship.
Yeah, if he can't take advantage of you, Quagmire wants nothing to do with you. Then again, he probably still remembers Lois's threat of feeding his thing to Brian if he ever touched Meg again. Hey, restraint by threats is still restraint. So Peter and Lois agree to go on the date, but Lois immediately recognizes this woman.
Quagmire's girlfriend is my old junior high school bully, Stephanie. She made my life a living hell.
Oh my god. He's dating another girl named Stephanie? I guess it's not that uncommon of a name. I just figured it'd bring up some bad memories of the last one. Well, at least this one isn't dead in his trunk.
Stephanie never even apologized, and junior high trauma is something you don't recover from.
But they decide to play nice on the date for Quagmire's sake, though Stephanie just can't help but bringing up the past.
You were a nerd? I thought you said you were a prom queen.
Prawn queen. She ate a lot of shellfish.
I never want to support bullying at such a young age, but I gotta hand it to her, Prawn Queen is a winner. Can you really be that mad at her when her material is so good? And since Stephanie is super successful and aged like a fine wine, Lois has to find little victories over her any way she can.
Did you see I ordered a salad?
It was a wedge that was mostly blue cheese and bacon.
Yeah, but it's called a salad, so that means it's good for you. I've always wondered if that same classification counts for urinal cakes. But all this obsessing over what Stephanie did or didn't think of her starts to bring the Prawn Queen out of Lois once again.
There's a rash forming on the back of your legs.
What? There is? Ah, son of a...
I think this is the same thing that happened to Smeagol. Just couldn't stop thinking about what they used to say about him back in Hobbit school. So despite going full Gollum mode, Lois is still reeled into attending a pool party, the same setting where all her trauma originated.
Wasn't this a great idea of Stephanie's? After the dinner we had, she told me all about the fun you guys used to have at pool parties.
I think Lois thought those pool parties were fun in the same way prisoners think Guantanamo Bay was fun. But it turns out all of that was just a big misunderstanding. Stephanie was never trying to bully Lois, that's just how it looked to Lois back then. Maybe this is just some elite level gaslighting, but I'm inclined to believe her.
I'm sorry, Stephanie. I guess I was wrong.
All right, that means it's your turn to service me in bed.
It's a shame we didn't get more of Stephanie and Quagmire, considering she's one of the more normal women he's dated. I guess Quagmire broke up with her for Lois's sake, otherwise she'd just be looking like the patient zero of chickenpox all day every day. But someone who would break up with Quagmire despite his willingness for a relationship is Elle the librarian, who thought Quagmire just couldn't satisfy her in the L word. So Quagmire's got himself a secret lady friend that he won't tell the guys about.
You're the only one of us who can date. We live bi-curiously through you.
Yeah, that's our penis.
I understand their sentiment, but if they're not the ones feeding it, exercising it, and keeping it up to date on all its shots, I'd be hard-pressed to believe you have any ownership rights to Quagmire's thing. But all is revealed when the guys accidentally walk in on Quagmire and the mystery woman.
Quagmire and the librarian? Shh. Quagmire and the librarian.
In their defense, that door was not even closed all the way. I wouldn't put it past Quagmire that getting caught goes hand in hand with getting off. So while this pairing seems a little odd, Quagmire insists that he made the right call.
She's read over 4 million tips on how to please her lover. You know, you guys would like her if you just give her a chance.
I don't know, hanging out with a librarian might cramp the style of these very cool middle-aged men who sit in the same booth and drink the same beer every week. But Quagmire sets up a hangout sesh, and one by one, Elle manages to win the guys over.
Would anyone like eucalyptus for their nose?
No, that's stupid. That's nice.
Another soul lost to the essential oils trend. We knew thee well, Cleveland, but your soul belongs to the diffusers now. But while everyone seems pretty happy with Elle, it turns out Elle isn't the happiest with Quagmire.
The problem is in bed. You've never given me an some.
What?
And just like that, decades of career work and experience are flushed down the drain. It's like being banished from a monastery after being a monk for years. So this pretty much makes Quagmire give up on his sultry tendencies, but a quick pep talk from Peter reminds him of just who Quagmire is.
Who else could hit on my wife for 20 years?
Quagmire?
Most men would be dead after that, but not Quagmire. So I think the real takeaway is that he's invincible, but also that he has what it takes to satisfy women. So he returns to Elle with the promise of just that.
Are you sure you can handle me?
Better question. Can you handle me?
Well, there's your answer. You might think Quagmire looks like the victims from The Ring, but that's the face of a man who saw the secret of the universe and lived to tell the tale. And honestly, after a whole video of varying romantic prospects, it's nice to see someone finally give Quagmire what he's always wanted. And if you enjoyed this video, all we could want is that you leave a like and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. That way you can be the first to know when we post even more great Family Guy videos.